I think we just went live. Good evening, William Paca Old Post Road PreK families. Welcome to our first live and virtual back to school night. My name is Miss Diamond, and I am one of the PreK teachers at OPR. Please know that this session is being recorded and it is live. This presentation and PowerPoint will be mailed to you through email by the end of this week. Please know that my fabulous teammates and I have been presenting from our homes, so we need to allow about a 5 to 10 second delay in between switching presenters. You will get to hear from all of the PreK teachers and team this evening, and there will be time at the end to ask questions. Last, before we begin, I ask that you have your PreK packet handy, as well as your cell phone, as we will be using both this evening. Now, let's meet our fabulous teachers. First, we have Mrs. Butterfield. Mrs. Morris. Mrs. Budke. And finally, Ms. Jambaluka. Now we will begin our presentation. Ms. Butterfield, please let me know when you can see our slideshow.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. All of the teachers here are so excited to work with your children this school year. These are our teachers. Here we are. Mrs. Morris, Mrs. Butterfield, Miss Diamond, Mrs. Budke, Miss Jambaluka, and Miss Kennedy. Miss Kennedy is our special educator working with kindergarten and PreK. Tonight, she is with kindergarten. Tonight we will go through what is expected for this school year. Our first quarter of learning will go through now through November 6th, and the progress report will be given instead of conferences this year. Progress will be measured through our conversations with families and work submitted. The attendance policy is that every child will be marked present daily unless the teacher is notified. So if you need to take a vacation or your child is sick for a week and you will not be communicating or completing any work, just let your teachers know so that we can mark it as either sick or excused leave. For your child to get credit for their work this year, communication and work submission is critical. The weekly communication is necessary to make informed academic decisions. We are lucky the meal sites open this week in Harford County on Mondays and Wednesdays. They are at any learning center, including Old Post Road Elementary and Edgewood Rec Center on Brookside Drive. The breakfast and lunches are distributed between 12 and 12:30 p.m. and are free for all children ages 2 to 18. Just drive up, tell them how many children are in your household, and they will give you those meals. The website at the bottom of this slide has heating instructions and other important meal distribution if you should need it. Okay, I think Mrs. Budke will discuss the learning packets now.
Okay, hi families. I know Ms. Diamond had mentioned in the beginning if you could have your learning packets handy. So if you do have your learning packets handy, you might want to have them in front of you because I'll be referencing them. So everybody has hopefully gotten a chance to get your child's learning packet. If you have not, you will be in contact with your teacher and she will make sure that you get that packet. So the learning packet that you've received is for weeks 1 through 4. Weekly communication with your child's teacher is really necessary to make sure that the learning activities are being completed, and it also allows the teacher to be aware of your child's progress, needs throughout the packet, and be able to provide you the assistance. In the learning packet, I know some of you had a chance to start working with the packet because we should be in week 2. It's okay if you haven't started and you're waiting for the presentation tonight, but just so you know, we are in week 2 of our learning packet. So within the learning packet, you are going to notice that there are 3 main content areas. The 3 main content areas in your packet is language arts, math, and something called PI, which I will explain on the next slide. So if you notice under language arts, the things in black are the skills and concepts that your child will be working through in the language arts content area. For example, recognition of letters, reading comprehension, concepts of print, sight words, and letter sounds. And if you notice, we have 3 times a week on this slide under language arts and math. That is because in the packet for each week, there should be 3 language art lessons a week and 3 math lessons a week, as well as 3 PI lessons a week, which I will be talking about next. So if you notice the skills and concepts under math, your child will be engaging in skills and concepts with patterns, numbers, quantity, ordering, shapes, and sorting. And the third content area, which is something called PI, and PI stands for Projects, Investigation, Exploration. And that's basically all the science and social studies outcomes. And again, there will be, in 1 week of learning, there's 3 PI lessons a week. Currently, we begin off the school year, our theme or our unit, our first PI unit, which is, again, social studies and science outcomes, is basically, it's called Hooray for PreK, and that is where your child is learning to be a PreK student, and there's also some self-regulating skills in this unit. If you turn to page 19 of your packet, I'll give you a minute to get there. Page 19 does have all the rest of the PI units throughout the whole year. So again, right now we are in Hooray for PreK. And again, there are 3 PI lessons a week in your packet. If we are on a 4-day week, if there's like a holiday and school is closed on Monday, we would have, instead of having 3 of each content lessons a week, there would only be 2. But again, most of the weeks are 5 days, but just so you are clear on that. So on the next slide, in the packet, we also have enforced how important play is. And if you go to page 1 of your packet, it kind of goes over how play should be incorporated daily, purposeful play in your child's learning experience at home. Your teacher will be walking you through and some guiding you on how you can engage in purposeful play at home with your child. Also, it is very important every day that your child, that you read to your child. We really encourage that on a daily, 5 days a week, reading a story. And rest is also important for children to be able to engage in activities. Rest is an important part of their day. And if some of your children are not actually taking naps, or they've outgrown that, where they're actually not falling asleep, that's okay. But rest is still important, where they have a 30, 45-minute day, part of their day where it's quiet. Maybe they're reading books, they're not distracted, and they're just able to rest their bodies. So the next slide, this packet can be very overwhelming, and your teacher, your child's teacher, will be helping you with the packet. So any questions that you have after this presentation, that's what we are here for. But as a team, we decided to come up with a resource that we thought might be helpful for you as you're creating a schedule and how you're going to work through these activities and these lessons that are in the packet. So here's just a sample. You do not have to follow this schedule. It is just a resource if you would like to follow the schedule. So I'm going to look at day 1. If you notice day 1, which this is week 2's sample calendar layout. So if you look at day 1, this would be if you followed it and you started on Monday of this week. You could do language arts, you could do the lesson that says we will identify our name. And if you notice that it says page 5. So what you would do is you would go to page 5 and give you a minute to get there. You will see that this is week 2, and you will see the activity for identifying your name is on page 5. And you would follow that activity, and the steps are there for you to do. And then we incorporated play for 20 minutes. Purposeful play is so important. We did that, you can see, all 5 days. And then we went to the PI lesson. So if you turn to page 8 in your packet, for week 2, the PI lesson is we will create safety rules. So you can look on page 8 and you will notice that the steps for that lesson are on page 8. But you also notice under PI that there's an extra page, page 41. So if you turn to page 41, there are resources that go along with the lessons. Not all the lessons have extra resources, but this particular one does. So if you turn to page 41 in your packet, you will notice that there's a resource for your child to complete that goes along with that actual lesson. And then we have read a story with your child. We have that 5 days a week because, again, we said that play and read is very important to incorporate in every day as you work with your child. And then you can see day 2, we have math, PI, play, and read, and you can read on from there. So your teacher will be emailing you this resource in the beginning of each week. If you find it helpful, great. And you can talk to your teacher about it if you still have further questions. And I believe it is Mrs. Morris is going to be talking to us about some of the materials that you have received or will be receiving.
Great, thank you. Tomorrow, when everybody comes to pick up their materials, you're going to see that we have a bag set up that has all kinds of wonderful things that are just for preschoolers. If the children were actually in the classroom, these are the materials that they would have. Inside there'll be things like a whiteboard and scissors and all kinds of things to count and make different things. We'll talk about those in a second. There'll also be a folder, and it'll either be red or yellow, and inside those folders will be extra resources. Inside the bag, there'll be language art materials. These are things like foam letters that are in sheets that need to be punched out. There's also flashcards. They have the capital and lowercase letter, as well as a picture that starts with that letter. And also wiki sticks. They'll be stuck to the back of the write and whiteboard. And those are great for making letters, making numbers, forming shapes. They can be used to all kinds of things. They work on paper and they work well on the back of the board. Inside the bag, there's also math materials. Some of the math materials are simple things like popsicle sticks. You can use popsicle sticks to form numbers. You can use popsicle sticks to count. Also, there's dice. There's also counters. You'll see red and white counters, and later on I'll show you what we can use those for, as well as small blocks for counting, making patterns, and sorting. Also in the bag are some fine motor and writing materials. It's really important that children build strength in their hand at this age so that they can start writing letters and also writing their name and forming numbers, things like that. In order to build their fine motor skills, there are writing materials and scissors inside the bag. You'll see that there's crayons, a highlighter, white and white markers that are used on the board, a pair of scissors, a glue stick, and a fat pencil, which is what we usually start with in pre-K for the kids. Inside the folder, on the left side, you'll see a pre-writing book. Inside the pre-writing book, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's some exercises to get the kids started making lines, because really all letters and numbers are based off of just a few lines that we make. Also, there's number book on the right. You'll see some other resources off to the side and down below. Down below is a letter chart that the children would see if they were in the classroom. Usually we have these above the chalkboard. It has the capital, lowercase, and should have a picture that starts with each of those sounds. On the right, you'll see a 5s chart and a 10s chart. They're 5s frames and 10s frames, and they can be used with the red and white chips that were also in the bag of manipulatives. Now we're going to hear from Miss Jambaluka.
Hi, everybody. As we have said many times in this presentation, it's super important that you keep in communication with your child's teacher. That is how we're going to know from afar how they are growing and how they are developing. So one way that you can send work into your child's teacher, you can send pictures or videos when appropriate directly to your child's email, or I'm sorry, your teacher's email, and they will keep track of that. Or we can use the Remind app. The Remind app is a fabulous free app that I highly recommend. Each pre-K teacher has their own link that I will show you in just a moment. And it's like a texting resource. It's very easy to communicate back and forth. You can also hand your work directly into the school and your teacher will be able to pick it up. So go ahead and pull out your phone if you have it. If your child's teacher is Mrs. Morris, pay attention to this slide. You are going to text the number 81010. And in the message, you are going to type at MORRIK3. This will get you set up directly to Miss Morris's Remind app. I'll give you just a moment to go ahead and do that. Everybody else, hang on for just a second and we will get you the codes for the rest of the teachers. If your child is in Mrs. Budke's class, you're going to text that same number, 81010, and you're going to text at BUDKEK1, or if your child has Mrs. Butterfield, you're going to text at BUTTERK4. I'll give you just a moment to go ahead and do that. If your child is in Miss Jambaluka's class, you are going to text at GIAMBE3. And if your child is in Miss Diamond's class, you are going to text at DIAMOK2. And again, all of these messages are going to 81010. And once you send that text, it'll get you all set up with the Remind app, which is a great way to keep in contact with your child's teacher. And don't worry if you missed this code or had to download the app or something. Again, this is recorded and we will be sending it to our families so you can get it again. It's also definitely recommended to keep in contact with the school. They'll send out important school-wide updates. So this page has lots of information. You can use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Dojo, YouTube, or just the school's website. They also have their own Remind page. Again, it's that 81010, and it's at WPOPRELEM. Any of these things are a great way to get information about the school. And again, this will be coming to you, so don't worry if you don't get it all written down right now. We are going to turn it over to Miss Diamond.
Thank you, Miss Jambaluka. So after all of this information that we've provided you, which I know is a lot, the team decided that we wanted to offer some suggested tips to make at-home learning as enjoyable, engaging, and effective as possible. The first thing that we recommend is creating a designated learning area for your child. As you can see, this is a fabulous example to the left. However, a designated learning area just needs to be a spot where your child can store their materials as well as complete their learning activities. It could be similar to the picture in the slide, or it could be just a quiet area in your home, such as a kitchen table or a desk. It's also extremely important to create a routine and follow it. Children benefit greatly from having a schedule and a routine so they know what to expect and to follow. If we were in school today, we would have a schedule that we follow to a T every single day so everyone knows what to expect. You can create a routine or schedule that works best for your family, or you might want to use the suggested learning sample schedule that we provided earlier in the presentation. We also ask you to do your very best because that is all your teacher wants from you this year. As Mrs. Budke pointed out earlier in the presentation, read, read, read. Reading is so very important. Do not forget to share your fabulous learning with your child, with your child's teacher every day. As mentioned before, it's essential that we have that communication in order to know all the wonderful progress that is being made. And we also want to be able to accommodate and provide assistance to you as much as possible as we navigate this learning. There's also one bullet point I forgot to mention, and that was engaging in conversations daily. Children build their vocabulary through conversation, and it's a perfect opportunity for the two of you, you and your child, to talk about what they are doing every day at school. As just a reminder, tomorrow is the pre-K pickup material at Old Post Road Elementary. So Mrs. Morris went through all those fabulous materials that we have been delivered for your students that will help to complete the packet work. So tomorrow, Wednesday, September 16th, from 3 to 6 p.m., you can come to Old Post Road. You're going to drive with your car through the loop, and your child's teacher will hand those materials to you. And now it is our time for questions. So please bear with us as we deal with this technology of how to answer the questions. So what we're going to do right now is you will see on the right-hand side of your screen, there is a speech bubble with a question mark. You can click on that question mark, and if you have any questions that you would like to ask the team right now, we are more than happy to answer. Again, if we do not have an answer to a question at the moment, the questions are recorded, and we as a team will go over them and find an answer for you and then email you later at a later time. I'm going to switch over now to Mrs. Butterfield, as she is going to be in charge of reading our questions. Hi, Mrs. Butterfield. Oh, I think you're muted.
Thank you. Is that better?
Yep, perfect.
Sorry about that. I was looking at the questions. I don't see anything has popped up just yet, but we are so excited that everybody was able to join us this evening for this back to school night. We're hoping you got some answers from some of the things that were shared. I'm trying, yeah.
Oh, Ms. Godfrey said great job. I see that.
She did. Great job, pre-K. So if there is a question and for some reason you're not able to ask it tonight, you are encouraged to reach out to your child's teacher tonight, tomorrow, Friday, so that you can ask your teacher your question and we can get that answered for you. Something that's exciting that will be going home with all of your materials tomorrow, since we have a few minutes. We have the material pickup tomorrow at Old Post Road, so make sure you're there. But we also have a little piece of all of us that will be going home so that we can learn and work with you this school year. All of our teachers are so excited. I don't know if you can see, we're all very happy. So these will be one of these. Your teacher will be in your packet tomorrow when you come to school. Okay, so here we have one question. Is the backpack filled with materials the same as the items to pick up tomorrow? Mrs. Morris, I think this might be a question for you. Maybe.
This is actually a great question, and a couple of my parents asked this yesterday. Actually, the materials that are in the bag that we're sending you tomorrow are new materials. These are pre-K materials that are meant to go specifically with the curriculum that was in the book bag. And we want those materials to go along with the curriculum, and the reason we timed it this way was so that you could see the curriculum first and understand how the materials could be used. So tomorrow when you come to pick them up, it'll make more sense and the two will go together better. But if you still have questions, please feel free to text any of us through Remind or get in touch with us by email or any of the ways Ms. Jambaluka said. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Mrs. Morris. Okay, I don't see any other questions. We'll give it a few more minutes.
I don't either, and I'm wondering if you want to just put the slide up for teacher contacts, if you'd like to just email a question.
Yes, you can email to your child's teacher. You should already have these email addresses, but here they are once again on your screen. It's all of our first name dot last name at hcps.org. Oh, we have one new question.
Perfect.
Maybe. Oh, okay. Is the backpack filled with the materials the same as the one picked up? Backpack filled. How many hours a day should the child be in class? I will send this over to Mrs. Budke.
Hi, that's a great question. If you are looking at the packet, it basically, as I was talking about the 3 content areas that are in the packet, of course, play is in there as well, so we could really call it 4 content areas because play is on the first page because that's very important. And we encourage purposeful play every day. If you notice for the content areas of language arts, math, and PI, each of those lessons were written and it's a recommended. It says the experiences below. So I'm looking at one of the lessons for math, and it says the experiences below are for you and your child to work through each day for approximately 15 minutes. So that one math lesson, this was kind of written for you to spend about 15 minutes. Please communicate. Sorry, didn't read that part. So basically, each child learns differently. Just so you know, again, the lessons were written for about a 15-minute. Some children maybe only will take about 10 minutes to complete that math lesson, and they're kind of developmentally done. That's just kind of where they are right now, where somebody else might take 20 or so minutes. So if you kind of look at the packet, there are 3 language arts lessons that are 15 minutes a week, 3 math, 3 PI. So that's why we kind of came up with that schedule for you, just so you could see, make sure you incorporate that play for at least 20 minutes. Obviously, you should be playing more than that, purposeful play, and also reading. So I'm not really going to put a time on there. I don't know if any other teacher would like to chime in about that, but that's kind of how the packet was written, if that helps answer the question. If any other teacher, if I, would like to explain it a different way, but it looks like we're good. Any more questions? No?
There is one. There's two more. Yes. Okay. Thanks, Mrs. Budke. There's another question. Do I need to submit my child's work daily or weekly? Miss Jambaluka, can you answer this one?
I can. So this is really going to be up to you and your child's teacher what their preference is, and that's a great question to ask independently. I know personally, we're going to be checking in at least twice a week, so I would expect to at least either talk about or see some work twice a week. If that is what works for your teacher, then that's great. If your teacher is asking to see things daily, then that's great too. We're trying to make things as easy as possible. So if you have a really busy schedule, the last thing we want is you to stress about sending something every single day. We're going to do everything that we can to make this as easy for everyone as we can. So again, it's something I would communicate with your teacher independently, but I would say definitely at least 2 times a week when we are in contact.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Jambaluka. We have another question in. It says, I have been using videos to go along with the lesson through YouTube. Is there any other resources with videos? Ms. Diamond, do you want to answer this one?
Sure. Sorry, trying to send myself live. All right, so in terms of videos, due to the fact that the county has not received devices for our pre-K students, a majority of the work is going to be completed through that packet. However, if you are accessing YouTube on your own for supplemental work, that's more than acceptable. And I think if you would like to contact your child's teacher to offer any type of activity that can go along with the learning packet activities, that would be more than acceptable. At this time, teachers are not, pre-K teachers are not to be recording lessons and sending them to the students until all students have devices. I hope that answered your question.
Thanks, Ms. Diamond. Okay, I do not see any other questions coming in through the chat right now. So we'll give it another minute, but we really appreciate all of you joining us tonight and taking part in our first virtual back to school night. Okay.
All right, I think if there are no more questions, I've already received some remind people joining in, which makes me so happy. And this, again, this presentation is recorded and it's going to be mailed to you later in the week. Please don't hesitate to reach out to any of your teachers. I'm sorry, Ms. Butterfield, I just realized you've been on the entire time. Sorry, you're sitting there smiling. Thank you to everyone who joined in this evening. This was definitely an experience. Look, as I try to get my background in. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and we look forward to working with you this year.